Broncos Country, a mile high salute. What is going on, man? The Broncos are set to take on another division rival here at home. The Los Angeles Chargers come to visit Denver tomorrow, Sunday, October 13th. And we're going to talk about it. What does this mean? What do I think is ultimately going to happen? And what are some key matchups that we're going to have to look at going into the game that really could determine if we win four in a row and start 2-0 in the division or not. So we'll break into it. Before we do, guys, check some of the other videos out. If you love Denver sports, if you love the Broncos, if you love the Avs, the Nuggets, hit that subscribe button. It really helped me out. Be sure to like the video and interact with me in the comments. I want to build a community. I'd love to meet all of the wonderful Broncos fans, whether in Colorado or nationwide or worldwide. So hit me up below and let's get this community going. All right, guys, let's get into it. So the Los Angeles Chargers have had a reputation amongst Denver fans for the longest time that they're the Chargers. Chargers are going to Charger. They're not a team to ever be taken seriously. And for many, many years, that was just blatantly the case. It's kind of a fact. But this is not the same Chargers team at all of the past. New regime, new leadership in Jim Harbaugh, who I think is a phenomenal coach who's had unbelievable success everywhere that he's been. And even in the 4 games that they've played so far, coming off of the bye, they've shown a ton of growth, and they've shown that they are gonna be a completely different style team that is gonna focus on a style of football that, very similarly to the Broncos, gives you a chance to at least be in every game and a much better chance to win than anything else. And in many ways, they're built very similarly to the Broncos right now. They play very good defense, right? Now, even though on paper, in some areas, their defense looks like it might be better than ours, it's not to the Broncos' level for sure defensively, but they are very, very good, especially compared to how they were last year. Huge leaps and bounds. And offensively, they focus on not turning the ball over and running the ball. And so when you really break down and you look at the stats overall, right? The Broncos are ranked fifth on defense in terms of passing yards per game. They're ranked third in defense in total yards per game. And they're ranked like 10th in defense in terms of rushing yards per game. And then in points per game, they're ranked second, right? So very, very stout overall. They're not letting a lot of teams score. The Chargers are ranked first in terms of points per game at 12.5. Granted, one game smaller sample size. They haven't necessarily played elite offenses or elite teams aside from just the Chiefs. But you're playing your opponent. It is what it is. They're first in the league in terms of rushing defense, allowing only 94 rush yards a game. Um, Sorry, they're not first. They're sixth in terms of their rush defense. And their pass defense is near the top of the league as well, allowing 188 pass yards per game. And then in terms of total defense, they're ranked fifth. We're ranked third. So a lot of similarities there, right? And I don't just go based off like, oh, there's how many yards per game. There's obviously a lot of factors that go into it. But they've shown to be very, very stout defensively. And on offense, they are an offense that, similarly to ours, right? I mean, they average uh, currently, they're averaging, let me find this, I'm sorry. Um, they're averaging 17 points a game. The Broncos are averaging 19 points per game. So kind of right in line. They're a team that runs the ball better than we have in terms of an average of a per game, and they don't pass the ball as well, but it's not too much of a difference. And in terms of total yards, we're like neck and neck. So a ton of similarities there. They also have 2 very key players returning from injury this week. Both of their tackles look like they're going to be coming back. While we are down to our third right tackle and we're down to our backup center. So there's a lot there that we're going to have to find out. So I think a big key right here, matchup wise in this game, is obviously going to be Matt Pert, who's going to be starting at right tackle. He's technically the third right tackle, but he was the swing tackle. So in a way, he's kind of a backup. But how is Matt Pert going to fare against Khalil Mack is going to be huge. Is he going to be able to? Because you're going to have to trust him to go one on one with him if you want to be able to spread the ball and in an obvious pass down situations, be able to maximize the amount of targets for Bo. He's going to have to win and to keep Bo clean. Obviously, Khalil Mack is somebody that can wreck a game. He's shown that, even though he's a little bit older now, he's shown that he can do that. So that's going to be huge for this team. Alex Forsyth at center, not just how he's going to be protecting at center, but what's his communication going to be like? Is he going to be able to get the rest of the offensive line on the same page. He's going to be able to call out blitzes. Where's Alex Forsyth at from a mental standpoint of the game rather than just physically how he's going to play? So that's going to be something that's going to be huge. And in addition, another key for us is going to be Devon Bailey is going to have, in my opinion, a very, very, very big role in this game with Josh Reynolds being out. I love that because it's allowing for a young player to come in and show what it is that he can do. I've been calling for Vele to get involved more. Maybe it's going to force us to get Marvin Mims involved a little bit more too, since kind of everybody's moving up a little bit with Josh Reynolds being out. But it's going to be huge because this is a defense that is very conservative. They keep everything in front of them. They don't allow explosives. I think Sean Payton talked about there's been like the least amount of explosive plays that this defense has given up through a first 4 game stretch ever. And I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but it was something along the lines that they don't really give a lot of explosives. So we're going to have to be very methodical. And I think it's going to be a game where both teams are going to come in with a similar mindset of limit the turnovers, give yourself a chance, field goals are fine. And there's going to be a lot of conservative play calling on both sides, which obviously makes sense. And then there's going to come a point in the game where you're going to have to be a little bit more aggressive. And so whatever team ends up capitalizing on that, or whatever defense ends up capitalizing on that, is ultimately going to be the one that puts themselves in the best position to win. So it's going to be a very close game, in my opinion, if you just look at all the different factors. Um, the big key for us is, first of all, I think getting a lead early. They are not a team that I think is built to be able to come back when they're down. Doesn't mean that they can't, obviously. But they're not a team that's built to be able to come back, but they're a team that's built to be able to maintain a lead if they have one. So we need to jump on them early, get the crowd and the altitude and everything on them early, try to divert that game plan as much as we can to force them to throw the ball. If we can also show that we're, able to stop the run against them, it's going to take them a little bit out of their comfort zone. And meanwhile, on the flip side, if we can impose our will and we're able to run the ball very, very effectively against them, which I think is going to be a very big challenge. But if we can find out a way to build on that momentum that we've been building of being able to run the ball better, we're going to be able to really tire out this defense, especially at altitude, and really test to see where they're at. I think overall, this game has, this week has come. The bye week came at a really good time for them. Had they not really had the bye week, they had a lot of injuries that they were dealing with. But now they're kind of on the uptrend of getting healthy, and we're dealing with some injuries. So, those things can play a factor. They can end up becoming irrelevant. Just like we've seen that, like McGlinchey went out, Palczewski came in. You can make the argument that things are better, but it's not always going to necessarily be the case, in my opinion. So, I'm uh, I'm really interested to see that. Uh, Offensively for the Chargers, they are going to be as physical as you can possibly imagine when it comes to them running the football. I think them not having their 2 tackles in the previous games has kind of been a direct correlation of them not being able to run the ball as well, but I think that they're a very, very good run offense. They have this, fullback that's also a defensive lineman that's like 300 pounds, and he's absolutely just a beast when it comes to clearing run lanes. And so I think our linebackers really gonna be tested, our front four is really, really gonna be tested. And we need to be able to make sure that we can stop the run game. This is going to be the most difficult run game that this Broncos team has had to stop, in my opinion, up to this point in the season. So it's going to be a really good test for them. Um, and I think ultimately, you know, obviously turnovers is going to be huge, but I think special teams is really going to be the biggest deciding factor in this game. I think the team that's the most solid on special teams, whether it be a special teams touchdown or flipping the field and playing the field position battle. I think it's going to come down to that. And because of that is why I think the Broncos are going to win this game ultimately. I think it's going to be one of those games that comes down to a field goal, maybe a last minute game winning field goal. I do got the Broncos winning this game 19-16, but it's really a 50-50 coin toss for me. I think it's going to be really a lot tougher than I think people think overall. But I'm super excited. I think the Broncos are running good momentum. A 4 game win streak would be amazing, and we would be staring a very, very clear path to 6-2 if we're able to win this game. Now, I don't like to look ahead because I think that it's just things change so much in the NFL. But that can be a very big determining factor to how the Broncos operate for the rest of the season in terms of the trade deadline and everything looming as well. So just some things to really keep an eye on. But I want to know what you guys think, Broncos country, right? What are some key matchups? What are some things that maybe we're not thinking about that could play a huge role in determining the outcome of this game? And what do you guys think is ultimately going to happen? Send me up in the comments below. Until then, guys, be sure to spend time with those people that you love the most. Go Broncos, baby. I'm so excited for this game. Let's get this dub. And until next time, peace out.